But see, you're pressing my buttons already, Brian. Here because I'm broadcasting again from a disaster zone. I'm in the middle of a natural disaster, a state of emergency, a fucking pickle here. It's snowing again in Louisville, Kentucky. We're never going to see the north side of the freezing mark again. And we reported on the last program where we were in the midst of the onslaught of the disaster that we got between Sunday and Monday. We got like 10 or 10 and a half inches total of snow over various points and some sleet and freezing rain in on that to where at first it was crunchy. And by now it's got the consistency of freezer burnt vanilla ice cream. Because even though it has not been above freezing in the past several days, the sun has hit it and glazed it over to where now I'm not as big as I used to be. I'm 185 pounds, though. I can stand on the top of 10 inches of snow in my yard in certain places, and I won't crunch through. Because it's just become, it's a goddamn perma ice pack. And now it's snowing again. They're calling for 2 to 5 inches, and it's just started. It's supposed to snow till midnight tonight. On top of all this other, the schools have been closed all week. They've had multiple wrecks on the various roads and interstates. I really don't have to fucking go anywhere, thank goodness. I can go everywhere I need to go. I've mentioned that every business and good and service and outlet and whatever the fuck I need is within 3 miles of the castle. And I got Black Beauty. Not only is it a 6,000-pound Ford Expedition, but it's got 300,000 miles on it and holes rusted in the doors, and I don't give a shit what happens to it. And I just popped that thing into four-wheel drive, and it went up and down the driveway with all that snow and ice without slipping and sliding a bit. I only know where the driveway is because I know where my driveway is. Otherwise, you would have just had to guess for a couple hundred feet. But I've successfully navigated that and have been out exploring. It's the other people that I feel bad for, people who have to go to work in this, that even though the schools are closed and certain things are closed or whatever, they're highly displeased. And I think I would turn to crime before I got on the public works department. It was one of the people snowing and salting and scraping, snubbling the show and scraping the ice and salting the shit, because what the fuck, that has got to be miserable. So further activity is happening. We may be cut off from the outside world here soon. So I'll be broadcasting, trying to give you the update on what's happening in Louisville as we go through this program.
Well, of course, speaking of actual disasters, we want to send our best out to everyone who listens from California. Obviously, they're going through a lot right now with multiple wildfires all happening at the same time. It's insane.
Well, and they had wildfires in Northern California last fall when my in-laws had been out here, and my mother-in-law, as we told a story, had to go to the hospital with an emergency, and Stacy's stepfather had to go back home because they were in a wildfire area. Now that's Northern California. Now it's in Los Angeles. Do you have any idea? Being as you're the weather expert here, you always tell me what's going on with the weather. How did they have 100-mile-an-hour winds and it's not raining? Did they just in California, in Southern California, have 100-mile-an-hour winds pop up? Or was this part of some freak thing that's led to this freak fucking thing?
They have winds that have popped up and that regularly pop up. It's never been like this. You know, for years, everyone talked about the big one. It's not an earthquake, it turns out. It's the wildfires and the winds sweeping it all over. They haven't had rain. There's no rain on the schedule. So, I mean, you could certainly...
But there are
plenty of places with wind with no rain.
Well, everybody's got wind. Goddamn, that's like air. Wind is air, but
okay, good.
We are here in a tornado-susceptible area. This corridor, Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, as we've talked about many times. severe weather, a tornado actually whipping through the F0 or whatever. The lowest designation is a little under 100-mile-an-hour fucking wind force. And that comes with severe thunderstorms and fucking all kinds of cataclysmic lightning and shit going on. I've never heard of a place, at least in the United States, where there was just the wind decided to blow 100 miles a fucking hour without some other weather condition going on. I'm not trying to be facetious here. So I'm wondering what the fuck caused that? That's some badass wind.
That's some badass
You
wind.
want to fuck with that wind?
The fires are still going. You know, I've learned the two
And
things.
also, go ahead.
The two things you can't beat: water and fire. You know, you can prepare as best you can, but a wind can take something and just destroy everything. And, you know, I ignored the mandatory evacuation for Superstorm Sandy and stayed on Long Island, stayed in Long Beach, and it was insane. And it's nowhere near as bad as it is out there. And again, there's only so much you can do. If these things happen, there's nothing. I mean, that's the scary thing. There's nothing that could stop it. And they've run out of water. Apparently, they were opening up fire hydrants. There was no water in them, which is crazy. I can't even imagine what that's like. But they have a drought, I guess, and they have no water. So they can't even fight fire with water. I saw them bringing water from a pool in like pouches to try to put out spot fires. It's scary.
And meanwhile, we've got here creeks and rivers. I've got a creek in my backyard, and if you melted the frozen water that we have, it would be hundreds of millions of gallons all across the region. But we're not doing anything bad to the climate. But also, here's what I was going to say a second ago. This is like fucking Raw was in Los Angeles 4 days ago. Had this started at all then? Was there a fire that was starting to spread, or this sprang up this quickly? And the drone shots of the Intuit Center didn't look like the wind was blowing 100 miles a fucking hour. Do we know when this began?
We don't. I mean, I don't. I mean, the other thing is other fires are just popping up. The other night, the Hollywood Hills all of a sudden went up in flames. Like, how did that happen? That was nowhere near any of these other fires.
Do you think this originated with the fan reaction to Hogan?
Do you think it was Hogan?
Raw?
Do you think it was Hogan? You boo me, I'll show you. Nah, I shouldn't even make a joke about it.
No,
he'll claim it though.
I started it. Well, no, it was Harley Race came and set the ring on fire for running the town.
But seriously, we have a lot of listeners out there, and we hope everyone's safe, and we hope it's scary. It's really horrible. My heart goes out to everyone.
And what you say, fire and
water.
And water. But what about earth and wind? Earth and the wind.
Well, wind. I mean,
is part of it.
What's earth? Earthquakes? You mean?
Earth, wind, and fire. I'm thinking. So they left water out.
That's right.
What did Maurice White have against water?
He was a dry man.
Possibly water offended him while he was a member of the Ramsey Lewis trio. But nevertheless, you got the earth is the earthquakes, right? That's right. California is noted for. That's why they set the goddamn movie there. So you got earth, you got wind. That's the high winds, the tornadoes. Fire, self-explanatory. And water, we're all going to fucking submerge one day under the oceans because of the melting polar ice caps. So that is the 4 horsemen that the ancient prognosticators predicted would bring an end to civilization. We figured it out. Well, that was pretty fucking deep. Should we just end the show now?
Well, no, I mean, this was our attempt to say something nice to the people going through it, not to make this really depressing and thoughtful.
Or we could, you said you didn't want to make a joke out of it. Goddamn, make up your mind. I'm trying to follow you here. This is your program. No, we love everybody in California.
Everyone be safe.
And also Nevada. How far might this spread? And
has anyone said anything about Nevada?
I don't know, or Nevada, either one.
Well, it's Nevada, but I mean, are you just saying that for any reason? Have you seen something on TV that it's spreading?
No, I'm saying that would be if it keeps blowing that direction. They're the next ones over, aren't they? Yeah, I mean, how far is this going to go?
I don't know if anyone's predicting that yet.
God, you know what? I'm going to the basement right now. Fuck it.
Man.
2,000 miles, but you know what? By the time it hit the fucking Ohio River, the fire would be put out by all this goddamn ice we're encased in.
If you had the money to put in like a top of the line, almost like a luxury condo as a bunker, which apparently is what a lot of the billionaires do, deep underground, would you do it? Do you think it's worth it?
No, a luxury condo underground is going a bit far. I think it's cool when the guy next door to me had built a new fucking house, right? He's got the room down under the ground where they can go and lock the door and they got all the shit just in case anything happens. But that was new construction. My father in 1952, when the plans were drawn up, didn't anticipate that it would get this bad this quickly. But I think a room underground would be cool, just so, you could do the Twilight Zone fucking episode and shit. But otherwise, I think, I'm not going to stay down there forever. I'd rather be up on the goddamn hill. And that way you can kind of fucking survey everything from a distance rather than under the ground where you don't really know what the fuck's going on.
If shit's breaking down and it's dangerous, you're not going to the top of the hill.
Well, yes, I'm going to the top. Haven't you ever played King of the Hill? What the fuck?
Not during an earthquake, no.
Well, there's not going to be a goddamn earthquake in Kentucky.
Not during a tornado.
I'm talking about anything else besides the tornadoes, which you can't do anything about. I've got the booby-trapped trees. I've got the hidden fucking moat. I've got the spike strip across the driveway. I've got the fucking turrets on the goddamn deck in the back. I just want to be able to see everything coming.
All right, well.
Don't go low, go high.